In her 2009 book, Tales of the Afterlife, Peggy Schmidt writes about multiple instances of unexplainable actions by dogs who apparently interact with something or someone unseen. She wrote about a woman named Johnsen who left 7 dogs and 6 cats when she passed away. Numerous witnesses believe she still visits her pets daily and reports seeing the animals suddenly gather in one spot, cats arching their backs and purring, dogs flopping over for a belly rub, jumping up and down in enjoyment, all of them sitting at attention and staring into the air. And Schmidt says her own Jack Russell Terrier has repeatedly reacted in an unusual manner in properties that are purported to be haunted. Today we'll be exploring 5 stories and signs you have a psychic pet. Can our pets see spirits? What are the signs that we need to look for in our pet? When watching your own dog during activities in your household, or when you take them visiting, you may see them fasten their attention on something that you can't see or hear. You may shrug it off as anxiety or reaction to an unfamiliar smell. Maybe your pet is communicating with the unseen, because pets cannot talk to offer their own explanations, and there's no way to know what exactly is going on, but there have been occasions when they appear to be communicating with something or someone because of their wagging tails and eye contact. Are they seeing spirits? And when you observe a dog standing in the corner, barking at nothing visible, is there a chance that they could be barking at an entity that happens to be present? Anyone who is close to their pets will testify to the psychic connection they share. Psychic energy and spiritual energy may all be part of the same phenomenon, and so animals might have as much of a connection to the unseen world as some psychic people do, and quite possibly more so. Animals may also be more sensitive to the proximity of spirits, alerting us to what we cannot see for ourselves. So, as us humans die and enter into the spirit world, the next question to be asked is, do our deceased pets come back to visit us? The ghosts of animals may be as common as the ghosts of humans. There are many reports from people who have sensed, felt, smelled, heard, and even seen the spirits of a recently departed pet, whilst other people have reported that their deceased pet regularly visits them in their dreams. Therefore, besides animals sensing ghosts, it is possible to come into contact with the ghost of a dearly loved pet. Many owners have reported feeling their deceased pet's presence in their homes. For example, in times of crisis, individuals have said they felt a comforting warmth and the strange feeling that their pet is curling up on their lap. Others have reported hearing the jingle of their pet's collars long after the dog or cat passed away. There have been incidents of dogs or cats making their presence known to strangers. Guests at hotels with reputation for hauntings have experienced phantom barks, meowing noises, and even feeling as if an animal brushed by them. So maybe even after death, our beloved pets may still linger, giving comfort and protection long after they die. The following are 2 ghostly stories that people have experienced with their beloved pet. Story number 5. The following person tells a story where shortly after her father's death, she walked into the living room where a cat was just staring at the armrest cushion. Although that might not appear too strange, in this particular case, he was staring at the exact spot where her father used to rest his head while he was reading the paper or watching television, where her cat used to jump up and keep him company as part of the evening ritual. Could her cat see the spirit of her father lying there? But she couldn't. The strange, uncanny look in his yellow eyes made her wonder maybe her father is still present. But why do cats seem to spook people out, especially if you're at home all by yourself while your pet makes you feel totally uneasy by sometimes staring at a particular seemingly random point in space, especially if the head is moving from side to side as if observing something? We have all experienced this, and I know it scares the bejesus out of me when my cat watches a blank wall or dark corner, and sometimes they appear to be looking beyond it. When a cat is watching something that doesn't seem to be there, on occasions they might call out to us about this perceived presence. Maybe they themselves are trying to figure out what it is they're looking at, or maybe they're protecting us as to whether the situation is safe. Story number 4. This incident happened to a young person who was sleeping over at their grandparents' house. The house was quite old and rather spooky looking, both inside and out. One night the young person was lying in bed watching television while the grandparents' cats were lying on the bed with them. All of a sudden the floorboards started creaking and the door to the room slowly swung open, all by itself. At that moment they thought nothing was weird. After all, it was an old house and the doors would sometimes open by themselves. But what happened next was rather creepy. The door usually opened about halfway, then stopped. But on this occasion the door opened all the way, to the point where it smacked into the opposing wall. Then both of the cats, half asleep at this point, jumped up simultaneously, and they noticed that the hair on their backs slowly rose. Then both of their heads moved in sync very slowly to the door that had just opened, and appeared to be watching something move across the room. But there was nothing visible to the young person in the bed. Their heads moved to the point where what they were watching was standing right next to their bed. The cats then both at the same time began staring at the young person. This means that whatever had entered the room was now standing next to the young person laying in bed. This lasted for about 10 seconds, then their attention was directed elsewhere and they wound up leaving the room shortly after, which was also weird because they always slept with the young person all night long. So after this frightening incident, why did they suddenly leave the room? Do animals have the gift of premonition? Other than seeing ghosts, many animals react in other strange ways when certain disasters are looming with both wild and domestic animals. Prior to the tsunami in the Indian Ocean that hit in 2004, animals acted distressed with behavioural changes and vocal warnings, and others ran for cover or refused to go outside. Could it be that these animals sense vibrational changes on the land from the impending earthquakes a long time before humans are even aware? Or maybe these animals have the gift of premonition. Story number 3. 2 sisters took their spaniel for its usual daily walk in the park, where they took the same route every day as their dog ran ahead of them. On this occasion, the dog abruptly stopped and would not let them walk any further, and jumped up and down barking. And at that very moment, a huge branch broke off a tree, crashing to the ground. If their dog had not stopped them, they would certainly have been crushed by the falling limb. Story number 2. An owner was walking down the road with his German Shepherd when the dog suddenly yanked him in between 2 cars, and at that very moment a van had jumped the gutter and would have hit them both had they continued walking on the same path. Another owner tells a story where he believed he was saved by his collie dog. Every morning he took his dog for a walk at exactly the same place and time. But one morning his dog would not get up out of his basket and just sat there refusing to move. Then after about 10 minutes the dog suddenly jumped up, ready for his walk. As they left their house, the owner noticed that where they would have been walking, a car had left the road and ploughed into a brick wall exactly where they would have been walking, and would certainly have been hit by the car. Story number 1. A teenager had 2 golden retrievers, and one afternoon he was in the backyard talking with his mother, and they were sitting on the swings while the dogs were sitting next to them. Suddenly one of the dogs started to jump up and down, eager for a walk, and just wanted to leave the backyard in a hurry. They ignored the dogs and continued to chat, but the dog got more and more agitated, so eventually they gave in and took them for a walk around the block. They were about 50 yards away from their house when they heard a massive crack and a huge boom. One of the large trees in their backyard had died and a giant branch had snapped and fallen. The branch had completely destroyed the swings, exactly where they had been sitting. It would have crushed them if they hadn't gotten up to walk the dogs. The strange thing though is that it was completely completely out of character for that dog to behave in that excitable manner.